Some best quotes from Nikola Tesla. Modern science says the sun is the past, the earth is the present, the moon is the future. From an incandescent mass we have originated, and into a frozen mask we shall turn. Merciless is the law of nature, and rapidly and irresistibly we are drawn to our doom. I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by a married man. I do not think there is any thrill that can go through the human heart like that felt by the inventor as he sees some creation of the brain unfolding to success. Such emotions make a man forget food, sleep, friends, love, everything. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. The harness of waterfalls is the most economical method known for drawing energy from the sun. With ideas, it is like with dizzy heights you climb. At first, they cause you discomfort, and you are anxious to get down, distrustful of your own powers. But soon the remoteness of the turmoil of life and the inspiring influence of the altitude calm your blood. Your steps get firm and sure, and you begin to look for dizzier heights. I constructed a laboratory in the neighborhood of Pikes Peak. The conditions in the pure air of Colorado mountains proved extremely favorable for my experiments, and the results were most gratifying to me. I myself eschew all stimulants. I also practically abstain from meat. We wind a simple ring of iron with coils. We establish the connection to the generator. And with wonder and delight, we note the effects of strange forces which we bring into play, which allow us to transform, to transmit and direct energy at will. It is paradoxical, yet true to say that the more we know, the more ignorant we become in the absolute sense. For it is only through enlightenment that we become conscious of our limitations. Precisely, one of the most gratifying results of intellectual evolution is the continuous opening up of new and greater prospects. Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for the experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. The spread of civilization may be likened to a fire. First, a feeble spark, next a flickering flame, then a mighty blaze, ever increasing in speed and power. In the 21st century, the robots will take the place which slave labor occupied in ancient civilization. The feeling is constantly growing on me that I had been the first to hear the greetings of one planet to another. The history of science shows that theories are perishable. With every new truth that we revealed, we get a better understanding of nature, and our conceptions and views are modified. The Secretary of Hygiene's or physical culture will be far more important in the cabinet of the President of the United States, who holds office in the year 2035, than the Secretary of War. We have soon to have everywhere smoke annihilators, dust absorbers, ozonizers, sterilizers of water, air, food and clothing, and accident preventers on streets, elevated roads and in subways. It will become next to impossible to contact disease, germs or get hurt in the city, and country folks will go to town to rest and get well. The trend of opinion among eugenists is that we must make marriage more difficult. Certainly no one who is not a desirable parent should be permitted to produce progeny. There is no memory or retentive faculty based on lasting impression. What we designate as memory is but increased responsiveness to repeated stimuli. I have already demonstrated my crucial tests, the practicability of signaling by my system from one to any other point of the globe, no matter how remote, and I shall soon convert the disbelievers. All knowledge or form conception is evoked through the medium of the eye, either in response to disturbances directly received on the retina or to their fainter secondary effect and reverberations other sense organs can only call forth. feelings which has no reality of existence and of which no conception can be formed. Let the nature tell the truth and evaluate each one according to his work and accomplishments. The present is theirs, the future for which I have really worked is mine. Our virtues and our failings are inseparable, like force and matter. When they separate, man is no more. The human being is a self-propelled automaton, entirely under the control of external influences. Willful and predetermined though they appear, his actions are governed not from within, but from without. He is like a float tossed about by the wave of a turbulent sea. It seems that I have always been ahead of my time. I had to wait 19 years before Niagara was harnessed by my system. 15 years before the basic inventions for wireless, which I gave to the world in 1893, were applied universally. Electrical science has revealed to us the true nature of light, has provided us with innumerable appliances and instruments of precision, and has thereby vastly added to the exactness of our knowledge. In a time not distant, it will be possible to flash any image from in thoughts on a screen and render it visible at any place desired. The perfection of this means of reading thoughts will create a revolution for the better in all our social relations. There is no doubt that some plant food, such as oatmeal, is more economical than meat and superior to it in regards to both mechanical and mental performance. Such food, moreover, taxes our digestion organs decidedly less, and in making us more contented and sociable, produces a good amount of difficult to estimate. The newspaper of 21st century will give a mere stick in the back pages to account of crime and political controversies, but will headline on the front pages the proclamation of a new scientific hypothesis. By an irony of fate, my first employment was as a draughtsman. I hated drawing. It was for me the very worst of annoyances. Fortunately, it was not long before I secured the position I sought, that of chief electrician to the telephone company. Electrical science has disclosed to us the more intimate relation existing between widely different forces and phenomena, and has thus led us to a more complete comprehension of nature and its many manifestations to our senses. The earth is bountiful, and where here bounty fails, nitrogen drawn from the air will fertilize her wound. I developed a process for this purpose in 1900. It was perfected 14 years later under the stress of the war by German chemists. Every living being is an engine geared to the real work of the universe. Though seemingly affected only by its immediate surroundings, the sphere of external influence extends to infinite distance. The scientific man does not aim at immediate result. He does not expect that his advanced idea will be readily taken up. His work is like that of planter for the future. His duty is to lay the foundation for those who are to come and point the way. The year 2100 will see eugenics universally established. In past ages, the law governing the survival of the fittest roughly weeded out the less desirable strains. Then men's new sense of pity began to interfere with the ruthless working of nature. As a result, we continue to keep alive and to breed the unfit. The universal utilization of water power and its long-distance transmission will supply every household with cheap power and will dispense with the necessity of burning fuel. The struggle for existence being lessened, there should be development along ideal rather than material lines. As in nature, all is ebbs and tide, all is wave motion. So it seems that in all branches of industry, alternating currents, electrical wave motion will have the sway. There is no conflict between the ideal of religion and the ideal of science, but the science is opposed to theological dogma because science is founded on fact. To me, the universe is simply a great machine which never came into being and never will end. The human being is no exception to the natural order. Man, like the universe, is a machine. If we want to reduce poverty and misery, if we want to give to every deserving individual what is needed for a safe existence of an intelligent being, we want to provide more machinery, more power. Power is our mainstay, the primary source of our many-sided energies. Of the various branches of electrical investigation, perhaps the most interesting and immediately the most promising is that dealing with alternate currents. Archimedes was my ideal. I admire the work of artists, but to my mind, they were only shadows and semblances. The inventor, I thought, gives to the world creation which are palpable, which live and work. When a coil is operated with the currents of very high frequency, beautiful brush effects may be produced. Even if the coil be of comparatively small dimensions, the experimenters may vary them in many ways, and if it were nothing else, they afford a pleasing sight. From my childhood, I had been intended for the clergy. This prospect hung like a dark cloud on my mind. If you want to find a secret of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. Of all things, I liked books best. The day science began to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in one decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. Life is and will ever remain an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. What one man calls God, another man calls the law of physics. If you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. Invention is the most important product of man's creative mind. The ultimate purpose is the complete mastery of mind over the material world, the harnessing of human nature to human needs. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond the comprehension. The gift of mental power comes from God, divine being. And if we concentrate our minds on that truth, we become in the tune with this great power. My mother had taught me to seek all the truth in the Bible. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. So astounding are the facts in this connection that it would seem as though the Creator Himself had electrically designed this planet. These can only come as a natural consequence of natural enlightenment and merging of races, and we are still far from this blissful realization. Great moments are born great opportunity. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. We are all one, only egos, beliefs, and fears separate us. When natural inclination develops into a passionate desire, one advances towards his goal in 7-league boots. A new idea must not be judged by its immediate results. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. We have undoubtedly certain finer fibers that enable us to perceive truths when logical deduction or any other willful effort of the brain is futile. Originality thrives in seclusion, free of outside influences, beating upon us to cripple the creative mind. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Genius is its own passport and has always been ready to change habitats until the natural one is found. Science is but a perversion of itself unless it has as its ultimate goal the betterment of humanity. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. One may feel a sudden wave of sadness and rake his brain for an explanation when he might have noticed that it was caused by a cloud cutting off the rays of the sun. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. The hard work of the future will be pushing buttons. These are only new devices for putting the weak at the mercy of the strong. Though free to think and act, we are held together, like the stars in the firmament, with ties inseparable. These ties cannot be seen, but we can feel them. My project was retarded by the law of nature. The world was not prepared for it. It was too far ahead of time. But the same laws will prevail in the end and make it a triumphal success. Even matter called inorganic, believed to be dead, responds to irritants and give unmistakable evidence of a living principle within. Everything that exists, organic or inorganic, animated or inert, is susceptible to the stimulus from the outside. We are just waves in time and space, changing continuously, and the illusion of individuality is produced through the concatenation of the rapidly succeeding phase of existence. What we define as likeness is merely the result of symmetrical arrangement of molecules which compose our body. There is scarcely a subject that cannot be mathematically treated, and the effect calculated or the result determined beforehand from the available theoretical and practical data. The by far great number of human beings are never aware of what is passing around and within them, and millions fall victim of disease and die prematurely just on this account. Misunderstandings are always caused by the inability of appreciating one another's point of view. This again is due to the ignorance of those concerned, not so much in their own as in their mutual fields. Our first endeavors are purely instinctive, promoting of an imagination vivid and undisciplined. As we grow older, reason asserts itself, and we become more and more systematic and designing. All repeated acts of operations I performed had to be divisible by 3, and if I missed, I felt impelled to do it all over again, even if it took hours. I'm glad, Tesla quipped, that I am living in a place in which, though they can roast me in the papers, they cannot burn me at the stake. War cannot be avoided until the physical cause of its recurrence is removed, and this, in the last analysis, is the vast extent of the planet on which we live. Every effort under compulsion demands a sacrifice of life energy. I never paid such a price. On the contrary, I have thrived on my thoughts. Antisocial behavior is a trait of intelligence in the world full of conformists. Universal peace is a beautiful dream, but not at once realizable. It only be necessary to carry an inexpensive instrument not bigger than a watch, which will enable its bearer to hear anywhere on sea or land from distances of thousands of miles. One may listen or transmit speech or song to the uttermost parts of the world. In the same way, any kind of picture, drawing, or print can be transferred from one place to another. It will be possible to operate millions of such instruments from a single station. Thank you so very much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. To watch more and detailed videos like this, please subscribe to the channel.